apparently, according to this screen, we are live. So,
hey, Antonio, thanks for having me on.
Well, Adam, it is a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure is mine.
It's like I'm always looking for young, up-and-coming talent to feature on my.
I am like the new kid. I'm the hot, exciting new thing.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Well, I saw, you actually did get funded today, which is awesome.
I did.
I know some of us had tweeted it out. I tweeted it out earlier when I was promoting this appearance.
And this whole zombie stuff is happening. It's really happening. 100% funded, 101% funded. Super psyched.
Oh, that is fantastic. I am extraordinarily happy for you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm losing my, I've lost my social graces. So let me actually start at the beginning in case anyone is confused. And who I am, my name is Antonio Brice. I am the creator of the comic book series brand. And we are currently on Indiegogo, and we are really close to hitting that $72,000, not $72, $73,000 mark. We passed 72. Almost 2,300 backers, which is awesome considering where we were a year ago. So thank you guys. But I have a Adam post here today to talk about College of the Dead, which looks very interesting. But so Adam, of course, welcome to my channel, sir.
Well, thank you for that opportunity to be on with you. And I've seen Brandon's amazing looking book, and you got an amazing partner there, Caanan White, drawing it. This was my first Comicsgate book. I'm really excited about Comicsgate. And I published a lot of comics in my days, most of them in the 1990s. I am the new Comicsgate kid, so to speak. But I have been around a little while. I published my first book in 1986. It was a parody called G.I. Jackrabbits. And yeah, College of the Dead, it's really, really exciting. So we hit the flexible goal of $5,000 today. We exceeded a little bit. And I really couldn't have done it without the support of Comicsgate people. I had a lot of great people put me on their shows and kind of tell me how things work. I had no idea how Comicsgate, I would follow Ethan's channel for at least a year. Hey, Edgar. He's a great man.
Yeah, Edgar Toller. Yeah, there you go, man.
He's good people. He's one of my backers, and he supports my YouTube too. halfspeedtucci.com. So what College of the Dead is it's a 140-page black and white zombie apocalypse graphic novel. A traditional, really well done zombie apocalypse graphic novel, really well written, beautifully drawn. I'm not the writer or the artist, but I did hire some really good people and work with them to produce this. It's set on a college campus, and you get to see what happens when students and teachers are kind of thrown together in a situation where zombies are attacking.
Okay, hold on. So let me stop you. I just heard you say you're not the writer or the artist.
No, I'm just a good-looking guy who pays all these guys. Yeah.
So what, you came up with the story and then just paid them?
I'll tell you what. I wrote a comic book back in the day. It was like more than 30 years ago. It was more than 30 years ago. It's called G.I. Jackrabbits.
Right.
It was good. Like for me, for being 15 years old or whatever. But I'm a great high concept guy. I'm really a publisher. I will come up with a really cool idea. I'll be like, why has someone not done this before? And then I will work with talent to put it together and produce it. I work creatively. I pay everybody. And then it's my job to market it and put it out. So I don't know, you look like you're younger than me, but I'm 49 at this point, Antonio. But I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there.
I'm a little closer on the on the downside of 45,
okay,
but I'm almost there. I'm past the 44.
I'm trying to think of my era that I'm going to throw at you because you've probably been a comics guy for a long time.
Very much so.
All right, personality comics, biography comics. That was me. There was rock and roll comics, and then there was personality comics. We were not rock and roll. We did biographies on famous people, and we did do some. We eventually did rock and roll, sports, Star Trek comics, biographies on famous people. We did spoof comics. Spoof comics was parodies of superheroes from Marvel and DC Comics. We had a slew, like 7 Adam Hughes covers, Jim Balint cover, Cully Hamner, Dave Johnson, Kelly Jones. A lot of good guys worked for us. So we did Super Babe, Bat Babe, Wolverbrod, Spider Femme, Dare Dame, gorgeous covers with some pretty good work inside. And then I did Triumphant Comics after that in the 94, 95. And that was a line of science fiction color comics. And the most popular one from that was Chromium Man, which was done by Adam Polina. And they all had sequential numbers. They were all individually numbered because the collector thing was kind of hot back then. So we'd print like 50,000 copies of Chromium Man #1, and each one was serially numbered with a stamp, like a certificate of authenticity type of deal. But Ethan had mentioned that he knew what Chromium Man was, and he was inspired a bit by Adam Polina's beautiful artwork. And then in the late 90s, I published Angel Entertainment, which did a lot of hot girl fun comics. Vampire Girls was a series of vampires that were girls. And then Dream Angel, similar in theme. I had Eau Claire Albert on Vampire Girls, Al Rio, and a couple of other titles in that world. And then I wound up taking a couple of years off. And then I started developing some material. I developed some material with Jim Shooter that hasn't been published yet. And I'm telling you something, you got some good ideas and you wind up hiring Jim Shooter to help you develop it. It's like, as a kid that got Secret Wars and stuff like that was like the ultimate. But anyway, that's another. So, but I didn't publish much of that stuff. So then a couple of years ago, I started getting into it again. I'm like, I have to just start making comics again. I want to make comics. So I just started, I made College of the Dead and actually made the whole second book, which we're finishing that too now. So I made that. I made another book called The Mermaids, which is actually a color project. And so that's me. So I'm like the concept guy, but I'm very involved in development, but I really like to collaborate because, you got somebody who's like a really good writer, they're going to execute at a really high level. And no one, like what Todd McFarlane did back in the day with Spawn, people would criticize his writing. And he's like, fine, I'll hire Dave Sim, I'll hire Frank Miller. I'll hire the best guys to write my stuff, and you will not talk about my writing ever again. And he shut everybody up.
But he didn't keep them.
He didn't keep them. But he goes his own way and he does his own thing and it all works out.
I mean, yeah, he's Tommy Farley's a legend, but yeah, that is, if I don't criticize his art, but his writing, it's the same. Rob Liefeld, that's one thing I've said about those like 90 Image comics. They all are beautifully illustrated, but there's not much there.
Well, honestly, like this is something that I think we need more in Comicsgate. I mean, I'm thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about it, but now I'm even more energized. That's what happens when you work with Comicsgate guys, and then you fund your first project. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. Now I kind of get it now. I get it. I kind of see the pieces. But as a publisher, one of the things you always do is you look for talent. So I have to restrict myself. I sent Caanan a message once, and I was like, man, I really love your work. If you're ever available for cover work. And he said, yeah, from time to time, just get in touch with me. And I did it with one other guy. I'm like, I have to stop contacting people because back in the day, I would hire, you see good talent, you put up the money and you hire them. Like now, because that's where great stuff comes from, is really good talent. Like, right, I'm going to reprint the spoof stuff, no doubt. With the Adam Hughes covers and stuff, I'm having some guys do touch-up work, and we're finishing up stuff. But I got as much work from him as I could, and I got a good amount. And we paid him very top dollar at the time for what the work was. He was very happy with it. But the point is now, like Comicsgate, great writers, great artists. There still needs to be kind of coordination and the publishing planning. Like with College of the Dead. This is not a gigantic number. I'm very happy with the number. I'm going to market it and plan it a lot better now the second time around. So we have the second book done. Actually, if you go down a little bit, this is something I could point to and be like, I'm so happy we did this. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the cover of College of the Dead 2. And it's these college students as zombies. It's a conceptual picture. a little further down. It's college students as zombies with their degrees. And that's the same artist, Javier. Who did
yeah, this appears to be that.
That's hot. It's great. That's the cover of College of the Dead book too. And the interiors are also done more just, kind of finalize everything. My point is, as a publisher, you want to put out book 1, and then you want to get on a schedule to put out book 2, as long as book 1 was a reasonable success. And then you want to retain that talent, and then you want to find more talent. So it's fine to do a one-off project, but a publisher has that mentality where it's like you want to get it on a schedule of some sort so you can retain your talent and you can retain your audience for that project. It's not just about, all right, people like Adam, people like Adam's ideas. Well, here's another idea from Adam. Here's another idea from Adam. Here's another idea. So I have a lot of ideas, but I also want to put out, I want to continue the series to the extent that people are interested in it. Because the second time around, obviously, it could be bigger than the first.
Absolutely. I agree with that. And yeah, I'm going through here and looking. So what gave you the idea to do this? It's an interesting concept.
This is the thing, man, is back in the day at the Personality Comics days was Personality Comics. It was Spoof Comics, but we were running like 4 other imprints. And I used to come up with ideas for all of our solicitations every month. So all the comics we were going to publish. So there was one month it got so extreme. I got a call from Bill Shanus, who is the VP of purchasing over there. And he's like, Adam, I have to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, well, what's up? And he's like, you solicited as many titles as DC this month. Are you sure you can produce this many titles? So I told him, yeah. And he's like, we want to see some work in progress from some of this stuff. So we had a studio at the time. So we had, 35 in-house employees producing comics. Half of them were pencilers and inkers and colorists and whatnot. And we even had a few in-house writers. And the rest were some administrative people. And we had a freelance pool that we pulled from. So we would pull all that stuff together. So the thing of it is I have a discipline of like, it runs on an automatic trigger of like, what would be a cool idea? What would be a cool idea? What would be a cool idea? And then you just kind of write these things down. So a zombie apocalypse taking place on a college campus, how could that not have happened yet? That's the stuff I do. The only the ideas that are like, it sounds cool and like, how could this not have happened yet?
One thing I want to ask you, because as I've been scrolling down here,
man,
I'm seeing all these pages, and they're like 2 panels, and it's got a page. Is this how your pages are? Are these the actual
100%? I became. Oh, wow. I had it. All right. So I saw there was this web. As a long story short, so I've been watching Kickstarter for a couple of years, and I reached out to a couple of guys that were really successful. One of them was this guy Mark Smith, who did Sullivan Sluggers, and he was like the first big one. He did like $100,000 with a color graphic novel, and it was sort of a zombies versus a baseball team, and it was pretty cool. And he was shipped a year late. Everybody went after him like a criminal, and then there's so many people that have since shipped much later. But anyway, so there was this one that was called Ava's Demon that was like this web comic that built up an audience, and then they published a collected book. And I was looking at that and was like, there's not much art on a page. And that somehow then for me evolved into, what if we design this to be 2 panel pages? I could promote the book on social media with individual panels and get engagement with potential readers. Because look, there's a panel, there's a word balloon. So it's like, there's no way to not read it. You just throw it at someone. Because even you put out a preview, and I've seen your preview, and your preview is great of the first chapter of Brand. But even so, even something that's free, that's good, it's hard to get people to look at it sometimes.
Well, I've been very blessed that I haven't had that problem since we released it. People are out looking for Caanan and stuff. But it's true. It's like, if you let's say you have a script and you want someone to read your script, right? That's
pulling teeth. In any event, I wanted to build social media with it. And I also have a thing for suspension of disbelief. So basically, that you get engrossed into the content and you're stuck reading it. So it's very cool to have a panel and a page break or whatnot, where the art is really cool and you're like, wow, that's great. But if you push that wow, it's great too far, then all of a sudden somebody remembers that they're reading a comic book. And you ideally never want that to happen. You don't want them to be like, oh yeah, I'm reading a comic book. You want them in the story. You want them totally. So it's like, for those reasons, and some other ideas about like, well, maybe we'll market it digitally and it's easier to view digitally and the story will flow better. So like, we're going to do a few graphic novels that are 2 panels per page. So this book is 2 panels per page, and College of the Dead 2 is 2 panels per page. And that's where it winds up being 140 pages. It's actually 252 individual panels for the graphic novel. Yeah. And that's where I had the art book made, because because you wrote your script, you've seen layouts from Caanan. I don't know how many other books you've put together, but have you put other books together? It's the first one.
No, I have not.
That's a fantastic first one. But you know that feeling when you see all this work in progress stuff? It's just so cool. Isn't it?
I get goosebumps. Well, he got a little creative the other day, and he did layouts for the final. It was supposed to be the final 8 pages, and then when he gave them to me, there were 10 pages, and I was like, we only owe 8 more pages, and then he gave me 10 pages, and then but I liked what he did, so I didn't want to get rid of them.
No, yeah, you don't get rid of stuff like that.
And this, I was like,
thought it through. You don't want to do that to a talent.
Right. And then so I was like, okay. I mean, the fans have, they've already been waiting, and they're
not gonna mind 2 extra pages.
Well, so then since he added 2 extra pages, and I was like, well, let's flesh this out, because as I was, it kind of does, where you mentioned storyboards, it kind of does read like that.
Yeah.
As I was going from page to page, I was like, okay, this I need to flesh. So I said, okay, on one page we need to tweak some panels, and then we could probably use an extra page here and an extra page there, and that brought it up to an extra 4 pages. So we've expanded brand from 48 pages to 52. But
fantastic.
I think some of the little there's going to be a little surprise at the end.
Cool.
and a character I didn't think I'd be able to get in there in the first book. Not Dark Santana. Everybody keeps saying Dark Santana will debut in Way of the Gun. So, but Dark Santana is on the cover, because Caanan did a pretty sweet cover, and can't wait to get it colored.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Stuff can get out of control. But you work with talent. See, like for me, working with talent, I'm always impressed with them. There are problems sometimes with work, and sometimes, you don't get exactly what you want, but there are fights worth having. There's fights not worth having. Yeah,
me and Caanan have had a few knockdown, and everybody's like, Canaan's a nice guy. And I was like, he is a nice guy. It has nothing to do with it. It's just, he feels on certain things. He has strong opinions, and obviously I do. And so, everyone mentions the tattoo thing. Those of that has followed this channel for a while, they know about Tattoo Gate. And Caanan added a tattoo to Dawn that, in my mind, was not there. And I mean, Dawn is, of a lot of the characters I created, Dawn is someone I am extremely protective of. And she means a lot to me. So I saw this tattoo, and I was not happy when I saw it. And I talked to him, and I was like, "Hey, what's going on with the tattoo?" And he explained why he put it there, but I was like, "That's not the character." I was like, and I've said this to Caanan sometimes when he's been on streams, like he's been on Drawn and Quartered, and they'll go like, "Hey, tell us about Brand," and he'll talk, and I was like, Caanan, do you know the book that you're drawing? Because I mean, it really, I've told him what the story is, but I think because he sees it a different way sometimes, and like I was explaining to him how Penance worked and some of the other masks, and he didn't quite get it. And then when he read the preview, and then he was like, "So that's what you were talking about." I was like, "That's why I was telling you it doesn't quite work the way." But when he read it, he was like, "That's interesting." He didn't, but now he sees it a different away because he actually has word from me that, because I was telling him, I was like, no, it's not that. It's not a ghost or any of this. And I was trying to explain to him that how the mask works.
So he could tell by the lettering, essentially, when it was lettered.
Yeah, once he actually saw the script and because we did Marvel style, so I told him everything, but I had given him character, I'd given him like little bios and stuff because he was like, give me anything you got, tell me, I want to know, because I'm on the.
Those bios are awesome, but it's hard to comprehend. It's
I'm like, we
in context.
Yeah, we definitely talked on the phone. I'm like, I was like, okay, so this is David. This is gonna be, this first story arc is gonna be focusing on getting him and Dawn together, and then we'll build on their relationship and go forward, and then we'll do some of the other really cool stuff that we have planned. I'm explaining to him. And that's the thing. I tried to explain brand to other artists before Caanan agreed to do it, and the eyes would glaze over. They just did not understand. They didn't get the concept. They thought I was a nut job. I tease my buddy Elliot Fernandez because I actually tried to get Elliot to do some concept art for me back in the day. It's funny that he and I are friends now, but when I spoke to Elliot. And now he says that, he's like, look, I was just getting burned down on superhero stuff and I didn't get it. And he said, obviously I'm happy for your success and everything. And I was like, right. And he said and if I had done the book, it would look different than what Caanan, and the way Caanan draws everything. He said, like I said, when I told Caanan about, he said, I don't know if I understand everything you're saying, but that sounds cool.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy, but yeah, I'd actually approached Elliot before Caanan. I had been following him on Instagram. He had like about 50,000 Instagram followers. Now he's got like 125. Elliot kills it on Instagram. That's why I was like, he's got Doom Kicker out on Indiegogo, and a lot of that money generated is because of his hard work, his hustle. Because he posts. He shows you, if you follow his Instagram, he'll show you how to market these projects right there. He's posting, he'll take a quick video of himself, drawing a panel or something. He's like, hey, this is from my, this is promotional art from Doom Kicker, and link in my bio, boom. And I noticed because, he was going to cons and he was kind of busy and he wasn't able to pop on Doug Staples' channel all the time.
Yeah.
That the sales were still going up.
Wow.
Because he was hustling and you could track. That's one thing I like about Indiegogo. You can track where those sales are coming from.
Yeah.
And so I was, I had to call Elliot. I was like, man, you dragged this thing because now they're over 50,000. I was like, that's all you, brother. I was like, you dragged this thing over the hump. And I'm really proud of Elliot, and obviously I back Doom Kicker. He's a dear friend. But yeah,
he's a great designer. He's got very commercial looking work.
That's the
I didn't like,
Well, his design work, especially, he designed the Ikari Press logo.
Mm-hmm.
The new one, because Caanan designed the original Ikari Press logo, and I thought it was okay, but I was just like, it's not quite there. I kept talking to Elliot. And he was like, you don't seem really happy with it. And I was like, something's wrong with it. I can't tell you what it is, but it's just not.
That's very hard for us when we're asking people to do design work. And that's very hard for the artist to understand what you could possibly want. So that's a tough situation. I've been in that situation a million times. Well, he hooked you up, Elliot.
Well, that's the one thing I can say about Caanan. Caanan was like, yeah, I don't think that the Ikari Press logo was my best work. He wasn't hurt. His feelings weren't hurt that I needed to replace it. And when he saw what Elliot did, he was like, there you go. Now, the brand logo was done by Caanan, and I love the brand logo. Elliot was going to redesign the brand logo too, but I was like, no, I want to keep that. I like the brand logo.
Slow down.
But his the Ikari Press logo, the original one, it was something. It just wasn't quite there. and we needed to make an adjustment. So
move it to the next level. What you were saying before about like being able to explain the concept by executing the lettering, we've done that before, where it's just like, even if you have layouts, to show people and have them understand what it is. It doesn't necessarily mean fans, but to show anyone else on the creative team, or if someone else picks it up, there's nothing wrong with taking 10 pages and having them lettered, even rough lettered, like doesn't have to be final, but enough that people can see the communication and the interaction with the characters so that you can convey the concept. But all that production stuff, to me, it's still, even though I see it all the time, it's fascinating to me. That's why we designed the ash can, which we've done pretty well with. So the College of the Dead ash can is a separate 100-page book. And what that thing has in it is, it has half of it is full script, because Stefan Petruga is the writer. He wrote X-Files, actually with Charlie Adlard, who did the art for years at Topps Comics. He worked for IDW. He worked for a couple of other indies. He worked for Marvel. And he's done a lot of other prose writing. But he really knows the supernatural and zombies and stuff. And he and I know some of the same people. And I was like, I got to reach out to Stefan. They're like, yeah, just call him. He's cool. He was fantastic and super professional to work with. So he did it full script. Not only was it full script, he provided all the photo references. So if he showed you, he's talking about a college, he's talking about an elevator shaft, he's giving you the elevator shaft. So no confusion, So all the photo reference that he provided, all of his full script with all of the dialogue is in the book. So people get to see how the book was made. They see his full script, but they also see Javier Aranda, the artist, layouts that Stefan and then I approved when Javier turned them back, so that we could see, like, all right, this is Javier's take on Stefan's script. So then we could approve it, and we had a package. But when we were done with it, I was like, this is really cool material. So I was like, I've never seen it done before, really. And I've been around a while, but I'd not seen it done before. I was like, I want to put this into a book. I want this to be like a making of Ashcan book. So I had the designer put it together just to see what it would look like. And then I had a prototype printed, and I was like, this is actually a really cool book. And I showed it to one or two other my buddies in publishing comics, and they were like, yeah, this is cool. You should definitely let people get this. So I think people are going to really like the Ashcan, and it's actually really educational. Stefan also teaches writing, and he teaches graphics novels writing out of Massachusetts at a college. So he's really familiar with just explaining stuff well. So that we did that book. And then the other advantage we had was, because the panels were all the same size, we wound up with 252, like whatever they were, almost 8x8 panels that were beautiful black and white panels with no lettering before they were lettered. So I turned that into an art book, and that's only available as the set. So you buy the book, the comic book, you buy the Ashcan, and you get the art book if you want it. And that book is another 260-page book. I like publishing a lot. Publishing.
I want to talk about your perks and everything, but let me look at the chat, because we've got Mr. Yaniful. Mr. Yaniful says, hi Adam, congratulations. And then we've got Raging Golden Eagle, who was very gracious and allowed me and Caanan to be on his channel last night and put us over that $72,000 mark. So I appreciate that. And he said Canaan's voice was shot last night. He definitely sounded like he had like strep throat or something. I didn't know what was going on with him, but he says to tell Caanan to take the night off and sleep. And I heard from him a few hours ago. He was trying to finish some jobs that we had set up, but he is resting. I can assure you of that. But supposed to get back on to inking some of these brand pages tonight. But let's see. So we're on your Indiegogo here, and your featured perk is the comic book in the Ashcan for $50. What's your shipping like on that?
$10. Being really keeping it real limited. Like, that's $10 anywhere in the world. We tested it. We can do it. It's going to be there.
Is your artist traditional, or is he a digital artist?
I will never have him draw digital again, but
wow.
he provides because he's too good. I need to buy traditional work from him. So the answer is he did everything digitally. And I have no physical artwork of this artist. But I will, as of some of the covers, I'm going to have him do like another 2 covers for College of the Dead 2. We already did that 1, and that was digital. And I'm like, all right, how much more for traditional? He's a cool guy. And he's like, look, I love you. Let's work. And then, you know how these great relationships go. So yeah, unfortunately it's all digital, but in the future we'll have traditional.
Yeah, trust me. I definitely
stupid no more, Adam. Stop being stupid. Traditional. I actually have some of the most prized things I have. I have it like not too far away from me on a table by the couch, but it are some of the physical original art pieces that I love, that for stuff like talk about 90s work, like the real, like done in the 90s by really good 90s guys. Some of it I published and some of it was unpublished originals that I bought for some of the books that we were doing.
Trust me, I like to collect original art. So, some of it is in the background behind me, including Matthew Weldon's variant cover for Brand Way of the Gun. Cool. So that is, and I've got original art from Sanford Green, who I had the privilege of interviewing on this channel a few months ago. And then I've got Caanan's cover for Brand hanging on the wall. And the Santana Baby cover. Yeah, I'm looking around. I'm like, yeah, I've got a page from Bigfoot Bill that Doug TeNapo gave me, and just very cool. It's weird as I look around. It's like I've seen pretty much the last 2 or 3 years of my life. Different. I was like, most of the stuff hanging is Brand stuff, but just and then other stuff is from friends, and it's interesting. So
I love it. I mean, I love that original work, and the hard part is selling it.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff I'm looking at like, well, maybe I can get $1,000 for this thing. Like I probably.
I had the Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda piece that.
That piece is that's someone would buy that for a fortune.
I've had a couple people DM me and ask me would I ever consider, because it kind of sparked some controversy last year in Brett Booth. Someone tweeted it to Brett Booth and he called me out and said I was calling for violence against women. Yeah, and his woman. Yeah, you can. It was bounding in the. Cool. Yeah, I'm still a fan, and he didn't block me and whatever. I defended myself, but I saw like Tug got on it. He said that stuff, and Tug got on it. Yeah, so shout out to Tug. Yeah, and then Bounding in the Comics wrote an article about it. I ended up making about an extra $4,000 off of it.
Wow, yeah.
It was crazy because I had people coming.
Yeah, fight about something.
But I mean, later it was sad though because his wife got involved, and then people were attacking his wife, and I was just like, but I didn't agree. Obviously, I didn't agree with her that I was trying to say that women should be attacked and all that. I was like, God, that's not what it was.
Should be attacked. It was just.
But I mean, I get it. I saw the original Mockingbird cover, and it was supposed to be. I wanted it to look like he had whooped her ass and took the coat, and it was like, he's a big fat guy, and the shirt's supposed to be too small, so you see his belly sticking out and all this.
Okay,
and they was like, oh, so he beat that woman up and took her shirt.
I've seen the image. I didn't think of it that way. Maybe I didn't look at it closely enough. Yeah, I wasn't trying to be offended enough.
And he has over 20,000 Twitter followers. So I was asleep when this happened, and I woke up and there were all these people that got so triggered by that image.
That was a great.
And then other people were like, that actually looks pretty cool, and they checked out Brand and they bought it because
of it.
Like I said, I still like Brett Booth. We just obviously disagree.
Yeah, well, it's like when you were talking about communicating with Caanan before, that sometimes you guys go back and forth at it. So much of our conflicts in life and in work, it's just miscommunication. So you always have to, and it's really funny because maybe it says I'm getting older, or whatever it is, or like from my day work or whatever it is, and I'm communicating with people, and I'm like, I know you want to do this properly. and I know you're not doing it properly. And I know I told you once and twice to do it properly. So what is it exactly that I'm not communicating? And I'm not trying to be sarcastic or nasty. I'm thinking like, and I think that to myself, and I'm like, I got to go at this a different way because, you know, I mean, Brett Booth is not an SJW, right? Out hunting people down.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. He's very good with the fans and stuff.
Miscommunication. It was never about that.
Well, and like I said, I responded to what he said, and like I said, his wife got in on it, and that was the thing, because he ended up blocking people. I hated that, but like I said, his wife said some things, and I was like, I didn't want to go back and forth. You know, I respond, just letting him know my intention, and then he responded to me responding, and it just, like I said, it was uncomfortable. I would love to, he's got his email and stuff, and I started to email him and try to talk to him, because I'm a big fan, and I'd love to have him on the channel sometime,
Oh, yeah.
But I know he's doing Bloodshot now, and I was like, I would love to talk to him, but I don't know if he would talk to me because, like I said, people were going at him because, it's like, that's SJW. What are you talking about? It's like, and, so I appreciated my small amount of supporters backing and people bought. But like I said, he made me about $4,000 sending that out and causing that little controversy.
You just ask him where to send the check because you got to. Yeah. You ask people where to send the check and you get their attention sometimes. But, no, you tell people how you feel. Just be sincere and short. That's how I am with it.
Yeah, we didn't go back and forth, and like I said, to his credit, he didn't block me. I know some other people did get blocked because they were a little more forceful than I was.
Yeah.
But I know some people that privately talk to me. It's like, man, I know, Brett. He's not a bad guy, but he probably just said what he thought, and like I said, I know his wife got involved. And
sometimes it's what's going on at the time, like, right? Because didn't he work on the Clinton Cash book too?
Yeah, no, I don't know about that.
A different guy? Is he? He's a cover.
I'm sure maybe he did. But I know he did. What was it? There was a book he did at Image, and they came after him because he was drawing the women too sexy or something, and he had gotten some shit about it.
Antonio, will you support me when I come out with a book that's too sexy? Because I got something planned.
Yeah, well,
you got this. It's not sexy party level.
Okay, because I was
a right female superhero gone and done right back again, and she could be heroic. She's not going to be over sexualized or diminished, but she will be sexy.
Yeah, it's like that's the thing with Caanan. Caanan was like, I understand sexy, but I want to do like sexy and tasteful, and I'm like, Caanan, they're hookers. What are you doing?
Tasteful hookers.
Yeah, and he was like, well, there's a classy way to do it, and and so there's one. I cannot wait to do the director's commentaries when we go back to all the little things that we argued about, because I got a list. I'm like, Caanan, so this page here.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I can't wait. So it's going to be fun to do the commentary. It's definitely it's going to be interesting. But let me see. I got a super chat from Captain F Head Square Go for £1, and no comment, just a tip. Well, I take tips all day, so I appreciate it. That's it takes time out of my schedule to do these streams, so I always appreciate when people come and show a little love in the chat. It makes it all worthwhile, and obviously helps us put projects like Adam's on the channel. So thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it.
Very appreciated.
So I'm looking at this perk here, the complete set where you've got all the books. So you've got, is it the ash can and the main comic?
Yeah, the 100-page ash can, which is big. It's not maybe exactly that gigantic, but it's 8.5, 11, and it's 100 pages, and it's unique content. It's the full script. Like every letter of dialogue, full script, and then the layouts generated from that script. For people that want to see how comics are made, we could be just selling that book only, and you get something out of it. It's really cool. I'm really glad I made that book. And then there's the 140-page black and white graphic novel, That's the it is 2 panels per page. It's 252 panels, but there's also an introduction to the characters. So you get like some nice upfront character descriptions in there, like little bio history. There's about 7 or 8 pages of that. But it's a real solid 140 page book. And then there's the 8x8 260 page art book, which is 1 panel per page. The panels are huge and there's no lettering on them. So no lettering. You're not going to read the story from the art book. It's art, baby. It's art. So you get to see like this is everything I got to see in all of the stages basically that I got to see it. So the original art without lettering, like it's full size, 1 panel per page, that I was like, wow, this is cool. Wow, this is cool. It's like, I don't know if I love this panel, but should we bother with drawing? Yeah, let's redraw this one. Let's not redraw that one. Just like all of the art in one place. That's the deal. That's the deal with that one. That's actually, I happen to have a prototype of that laying around. That's this book that looks like this. Oh, am I doing it right? Like that. Yeah. So you really like, this is the stuff that like when we see the work come in, Antonio, that we're like, you just see the new page come in and it has been finished. It's like, wow, this looks fantastic. We love this. Or like, why is that girl got a tattoo on? That's got to change. And then you had a whole conversation going with that. But if it's not in the layouts, then it shouldn't really be in the final finished piece.
I can't say that with Kane, especially when he works digitally, because that's he's such a great traditional artist, though, as I have discovered as we've been as he's been inking the pencil pages that we sold to the backers. You know, he'll have to scan, he'll send me the layout, like, okay, that's good, and then he'll draw the page traditionally and then scan it and then ink digitally. Yeah. But as he goes in, though, he can just that iPad Pro or whatever he's using, because he used an iPad Pro and a Cintiq and a couple different programs, and he can just switch things like that. It's so
and he's working traditional. So what's his process? He's doing a layout. Is he doing a layout digitally or doing a layout?
The layouts are done digitally. All the layouts for brand were done digitally.
So then you could approve the layout and then you do a traditional on a board of a tight pencil.
Yeah, we put up 20 pages of original art for sale. Like I said, the book was 48 pages. And then so I talked to him and I was like, we could make more money, and obviously you would get more money because he got, it was $500 a page, and since he's the artist, he got the lion's share of that. It was the reality was
the originals were $500 per page.
Yeah,
nice,
because Caanan doesn't work. He doesn't work traditionally very often, so he hadn't really done. He had done some traditional art pages on Uber when he was working with Kyron Gillian. But and then after that, he just was like, well, I like working digital, and he just wanted to do more like that. But once I gave him some figures that he was comfortable with. Yeah. He said, I don't want to do the whole book traditionally, but if you can pay like you were saying, I'll be willing to do 20.
That's very fair.
And then the other 28 I will do digitally. And then he was like, he said, whatever doesn't sell though. So, we're doing 13 pages traditionally. The other 7 that didn't sell, they're going to be digital now. So, okay. So yeah, because he was like, if they don't buy them, because he told me, we were getting close, and he was like, go ahead and pull that down, because we're getting near the end, and I'm running out of pages. And I was like, right. So I went ahead and pulled it down, and he started drafting the traditional pages. But that's definitely going to be rare, because the next book, he did not, even though he liked the money, but he was like, God, he said this traditional is not. I like laying my stuff out digital and doing all that, but he did such a brilliant job. I saw him like with his, he have his little ruler and all the little tools and everything. And I was like, I've got some scans of some of the pencils, and they were so beautiful. I was like, oh, that looks great. Oh, that looks great. And they're still dynamic. I thought he has these weird dynamic layout styles. And I thought a lot of that I was like, oh, he's pulling this forward. It's like a camera. There's a shot where one of the characters like reaching their hand out and everything, and looks kind of coming out of the panel. And I was like, oh, he's doing stuff with the computer and making it. But he did that in pencil, and then he just went and cleaned it up with the digital ink. So I was like, man, whoever gets that page, is a nice looking page. And I was like, oh. Yeah. So like you said, whoever is getting those original pages,
they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah, because they're going to be extraordinarily rare. Like I said, there's only going to be the cover and the 13 pages out of the 52 that are going to be traditional. So everything else is digital.
So he does his layouts. It's fascinating to me, and also I have to think about future work because I cannot do more books without doing some traditional.
Right.
And I own some traditional on the Mermaids project. I'll tell you about that later if you want to hear about. So you did digital layouts, and then he would get the layout approved. He didn't print the layout onto a board. Those are just really rough.
Yeah. Well, from the way he was talking, he could print. He could make it like blue line. Like I don't know if you ever watch Ethan. When he's drawn, he starts with the blue line. Like he can do a light layout on, because he definitely has. I've seen his. I don't know if you ever watched. Sometimes when he does a full shot of his studio and everything, he's got like a little cramped up space there that he works. He's got like a couple of desks in there, and got some kind of poster backer behind him from, I guess, when he used to do the cons and stuff. And Caanan white art. Got some little thing. Yeah, but he has a little setup there, and sometimes his son's in there drawing with him, or one of his daughters. It's crazy. But to actually, like I said, I was like, Caanan, what are you doing? And he'll be like, hold on. And he'll take a picture, and he'll actually show me the picture, the ones that he's drawing traditionally on the desk and stuff. And like I said, he's got the ruler out and the other the thing you use to make the circles and all that.
Tools to do. You got to have those tools to do your thing.
Yeah, I didn't even think he had anything like that anymore, because I was like, he's been digital for like digital, 5 or 6 years.
To the tools I see with digital, I see some people put up some videos sometimes, and it's nuts. It's nuts what they can do with digital. So you could really understand that. But there's nothing like owning the physical artwork. When we had our studio with artists, and this was in the early 90s, we would, for coloring, we would get a pencil page, we would ink it traditional, and then we weren't scanning back then, but we would print it onto the photocopier onto a board, and then they would hand color, like with watercolor for Triumphant Comics. They watercolored the colors on a printed board, and it wasn't on original artwork. It was printed on a printed board. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how people work and do different and do a different process. But yeah, we'll have traditional. The fact that I don't have this piece traditional is insane. But I also think I would not have sold this if I owned it.
Well, that's the thing, and I had to pay. Obviously, one thing I didn't understand when I first got to doing this, I didn't understand that the art belongs to the artist. And so I had
you can make a different deal. You just got to pay the money.
Yeah, right.
You understood.
But I spoke to some there's a gentleman by the name of Ed Dukeshire that founded a website called Digital Webbing. I know, like John Malin and stuff. John Malin has talked about, he used to cut his teeth there. Mike S. Miller. I saw Ed, like Ryan Otley was talking to Ed on Twitter, going, man, I used to spam your boards all the time, and
a lot of guys came up that way.
Yeah, and it was like, but Caanan won a contest on Digital Webbing. I didn't know they knew each other. I just kind of met Ed online just from looking into. I was researching comics, and his name kept coming up, and I contacted him. He was very gracious. He's a very talented letterer and been on some big projects. I would, fortunately, I found a great letterer, but Ed, if Ed works for like Boom, I think, and Boom Studios, and Ed's a incredible letterer in his own right. I would love to have him doing brand, but
Well, I'll tell you what, man. That's like, as a publisher with that publisher mindset, the publisher eye, we're always looking for talent. There's always more talent that you want to work with. And we were successful. A big part of my success. I'm sorry to interrupt your story, but I always hate to leave this man out, Kirk Lindo, because he was such a big part of my early success. So Kirk, after I found Kirk through an ad in the Penny Saver or something like that, a friend of his saw it because we were looking for artists. Our publishing business was out of the back of a Packaging Plus store, which is like an independent shipping store. And we were paying like $50 a month rent or whatever. I had like a little thing in the back. And that was my second publishing venture. But anyway, so Kirk, he managed retail shoe stores, but he was also a really good artist. And he really wanted to publish comics. He wanted to be involved in comics. And he worked for us part-time on Saturdays. But I found out later that he went to School of Visual Arts in New York City. And he had was taught by Will Eisner, the super, like, the guy who made The Spirit, Comics and Sequential Art, that book.
Yeah. Eisner Award,
Yeah, exactly. Will Eisner Award. But the guy really the guy was amazing. I never met Will Eisner, but Kirk's work ethic was amazing. Kirk's talent was amazing. Any idea I would come up with, he'd be like, yeah, we could figure out how to get that done. And then he and I would jam on it and we would get it done. So he really we went from nothing to having the studio with, I think we had 20 art tables and the rest of the guys there. And like with Kirk, I would just tell him what the budgets were and we would just kind of work it out. You get the orders from Diamond, non-returnable, and a couple other distributors early on, but eventually it was just Diamond. And then we would have set budgets to make sure we would make money. And then we would work at different rates. Like we had the personality comics rate, the spoof comics rate, the hero rate was our highest end rate. And then everybody would, work to stay within that budget. And it worked really well. But in any event, talent is just such a precious thing. Isn't it? I mean, because if you and Caanan get into a groove, it's like you guys can make millions together. There's no,
Well, I think, some of the projections that, we kind of did some numbers as far as, just based on the amount of backers we have, how much could we make at the new price point and half the backers. And I mean, like I said, we've got nearly 2,300 backers. Even if we could retain half of them at the new price point, it's over $100,000 campaign.
No, you're not gonna lose anybody. The price point, you raise the price point, it's not an issue. People, I like talking about this kind of stuff. So now you got me on it, and sorry, I got to talk about it. There's per price, right? So there's price, under price, there's cost, above price is value. This is just straight up marketing stuff. So people want value. If they're after you, like, well, how much did it cost you to make that? Like, well, hold on. You want what you're gonna get out of what I'm giving you. So people support me and they back me because they like the comic book. And some of them are doing it because they like me, and some are doing it because they like both. But they're not taking my 140-page comic and then, counting the pages and comparing it to Marvel or comparing it to Alterna or Walking Dead. It's its own thing. So the value of what people get is really important. So the question is not a question of, if your price is a little bit too high. The question is really like, is the value going to be there for people? Now you're doing a 48-page book with Brand. So
it's 52 now, but
now it's 52 pages. Yeah. So now what is the value of that compared to Cyberfrog, compared to, someone else who's doing a 100-page book like Jawbreakers 2 or Jawbreakers 1. And yes, if it's more pages, if it's significantly more pages, there's more value, and that is going to help substantiate whatever your price point is. But as long as it's not ridiculous, whatever the price is, people are happy.
Well, I've had people go, well, Antonio, it is $15 for a comic, and that's, I could get a Marvel book for like $4.99, $5.99.
Yeah, but or you could wait till the week after when they come out and you get them all for fucking 10 cents each.
Yeah, well, that's true too, because there's a lot of folks with photos when they go to their comic shop. There's a bunch of like Captain Marvel and all these crappy Miss Marvel and all these books
still sitting, taking up shelf space.
You and me are not in that business, and Ethan is not in that. We are not in that business that we're trying to give people the cheapest value for the money when they're making a book. We don't work that way, and price does matter. I love what Alterna does, but it's low price newsprint books. They also have higher end format collections. It's really valuable, but we're not trying to compete head to head for how much is this paid cost per page compared to that. There are, like in my main business, my day-to-day business, we have a telemarketing business. It's a telemarketing business to business, and we set up appointments for insurance agents. It's very, very niche, the people that we deal with. And I've been in the same business with that for more than 15 years. It was like the early 2000s that we started. And it's a very steady business. I love a lot of aspects of it. But, of course, my natural first love is comics. I really want to spend a lot of time making comics, make a lot of great, great comics. But in our business, like I'm careful about the clients. If you got money and you want to do business with me, that's not enough. I straight up interview my clients. And I had a couple of buddies of mine that were with me for a couple of years now. They're like, Adam, that was actually really cool. There was one in particular that was like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I thought it was really cool that you so you have to hear about me by referral. I don't take on a lot of people. And then when I was referred, Joanne referred this guy Clint to me. And she said, listen, he doesn't work with everybody. He is going to interview you. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah. She's like, but no, I did. Because the thing is what we offer is not for everybody. If you don't like a great frog book and you're like, no, I'm looking to now, reconsider if I am the right gender, you shouldn't read Cyberfrog. You should read Spider-Man, but you shouldn't read Cyberfrog, and you shouldn't read College of the Dead. I don't have anything that's going to make you reconsider your gender.
Well, the big thing is, because like I said, I have had that. It's like, hey, that you're charging more. It's like, you're cheaper than some of the other guys, but you're charging more. And I go, okay, look at what you're getting for $15 in shipping. So I was like, you're going to get, because I have to fly Caanan out. And so you're going to get Caanan White's signature on the comics as well as mine, for less than $25. Ethan Van Sciver's signature, you're getting that. Like, you buy Cyberfrog, the Blood Honey, what's it, 30? It's 25 and 10 shipping. So you're getting Ethan Van Sciver's signature on the comic for $35. Where if you go to like Dynamic Forces and stuff, when they sell those autographed copies.
Nick Barucci knows how to make money over there at Dynamite.
Dynamite.
You can't be messing with. You can't compare to Nick. But when we used to do signed comics, you charge more for the signed comics.
Yeah, they were like something like $50 to $75 right out the gate, plus the shipping. I mean, I buy these autographs. I bought autographed comics. I've got a comic. I think I'm trying to think what it's called, War Cry or something like that. I had to go look it up, but I've got it. It was autographed by Mark Waid and Mark Silvestri. And this was when I still loved everything Mark Waid did. And but I still, obviously I paid a nice dollar for it. And I'm a big fan of Mark Silvestri, and he actually drew the interiors on the comic as well. Right. So I was like, I've got a book with interiors from Mark Silvestri and written by Mark Waid, and have their signatures both on the cover, which is awesome. I'm thrilled when I look at it. I've got a few things that are autographed.
48 pages, unsigned, should be $25 in our game. In our game. It's our game. I'm not saying unsigned. That's what it is in our game. That's the game. The game is the game. We can't be, you put it in a box and there's shipping too. What are we going to do about that? We can't change that.
Well, yeah, and then I see something, we've got a lot of people that like to flip comics and stuff. And you see what like Graveyard Shift 1 is selling for on like eBay. I've seen it go. It was like, I saw somebody bought it for like $102 and stuff,
So all right. So how did we start our comics publishing company and manage? I didn't have investors. We had no money. I was just, when I first started, I was in high school and I had no money. And then I was in college here on Long Island going to the Hofstra, and I basically had no money. I had a small poster business that paid the bills. and we were selling wholesale posters to comic stores because I knew comics a little bit from when I published Jackrabbits. So we were selling them non-returnable, but I was sort of understood the comics publishing. I saw rock and roll comics. They only did rock and roll people. And I was like, well, why don't we do biography comics? Because, why wouldn't you do a biography on Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tracy Lords? And at the time, Polly Poroskova was young and hot. We did her. And then eventually we did Michael Jordan and Star Trek, and that stuff blew up and it made some good money. But the point is, how do you do that? You got to know your numbers. And you got to also know who your customers are. So at some point, I figured out, look, if you do number ones and you make it sound like a retailer has to buy it, they're going to buy it. People are only going to buy what they feel like they have to buy. As far as speculators go, that's an aspect of the market. So there's different people will buy to flip books. People will buy to keep them for themselves, which is the lion's share. And then some people will buy it to read it, and then they also want to be a real aficionado and comment on it, and they want to comment on, well, I liked it, but I didn't love it, but I wish, this should have been more like this, and it's just people critiquing stuff. So my thing of it is you have to look at what you're doing, and like no one is going to tell. Ethan sets such a good example, honestly, because no one's going to tell him how to make his damn frog book. Except the people that are telling him for his own good, like his editor saying, listen, man, cut it off. It's 80 pages, whatever it is. Stop it already. You got to have it finished. And someone who loves you and trusts you that you have a relationship with, they can tell you, look, stop it already. Just put the book out. But other than that, it's not for fans or for other creators to tell people how to make their books. You know what I mean? So you have your vision. You know what you want to do. You know what's going to be quality. And the other thing, too, is we have to make sure there's enough money that Caanan can make money. You make money. Everybody, because otherwise it all falls apart and someone else comes up with a better proposition and then the book's not there anymore. Someone who's thinking about making money and hitting the numbers.
Because I have a team. Yeah, I have a team of pros that I had to make sure everybody got paid, and they had to get paid before I got paid.
Getting paid. They're getting paid. You might have leftovers.
Yeah.
I'm going to get leftovers eventually.
And I was like, when I got to a certain point, I was like, oh, finally, I can start taking some of the money. But I had to make sure I knew, and I set the budget at like 15. And even then, I was like, I don't, because the first time I launched, I asked for $30,000. I was like, ain't nobody giving me $30,000. I was no way in hell. And it was, I tried to get it and raised $95, and then I said, okay, well, let me go 20,000.
The thing though is, and so much you got to plan. You plan, you talk about it, and you figure out what works, and you also help Caanan figure out what's good for him. I was talking to another one of our guys, a CG guy, in our new class of CG guys, and he's paying his artist, and everything's cool. And I'm looking at his pages, and they're black and white, and they're rendered, and they're beautiful. You could publish them in black and white, but he's also doing it in color. And I was like, well, it's a lot of extra work to let the artist do it in black and white and render it. And then you're going to color it. I was like, have you at least tested what the color looks like? He's like, yeah, we're probably going to do, a manga style version of it at some point, which is, beautiful work, and a successful campaign. And I was like, but have you seen a black and white version of the color work? Because it's kind of like double work. And he's like, look, the artist really wants to do it. I'm not going to tell him not to do it. And I'm like, hey, I respect that. It makes sense to me. But the truth, I'm just going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but the truth is, no, it does fucking make sense. I don't like it. Here's why. It's the artist doesn't always know what's good for them. Sometimes you have to be able to talk to someone. Like if you need a guy to be able to make his number, and he's really into doing detail or extra rendering and stuff that's like going to get covered up, especially by color. It's like, listen, man, no, I want you. This is what our budget is. It's my budget, but it's our budget because it's like a marriage. You know what I mean? Like when the wife comes out and she's like, hey, I don't know if we can afford this. And I like, get out of here, you. No, I'm like, no, I'm not married, but maybe that's why. But my point is this, man, is that we have to figure out what works. We're on the same side. And then if you're not feeling like you're on the same, I know you and Caanan get along tight. I'm not talking about you two guys. I'm just talking about like planning books and relationships in general. You don't want an artist doing more work for you just because they are willing to or they want to. if at the end of it, it's like, well, you know, they were supposed to do 100 pages. It's like doing 160 pages and they made the same money. And you could have been halfway into the next book by now. You know, if that's what was going to be. And then the other thing too, with like artwork, the artist owns the artwork. And if somebody wants to work digital, you let them work digital. At the same time, you could also talk about and look at the money and be like, let's take one more look at this and just see, like, if maybe you guys work together where he does 4 covers on the next book, for example, and you guys kill it on the covers and sell them for like $2,000 each or something. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to break it up.
I see a man in lunacy is in the chat.
I don't think he's crazy. He's right. It is on the edge to be $25 for 48 pages. That is the absolute tippity top. And we should think about doing more than 48 pages for $25. And I've heard people say that about.
Well, and he's been in my chat, obviously, and we just know here and for future reference, I vehemently disagree with you, specifically because these particular books are autographed. If it wasn't autographed, and
that's on me. But you're right. Autographed 25 to 48. That is the game.
That's what I'm just saying. There's more perks because, like I said, I bought a lot of autographed comics through the mail, and they do charge a premium for it. Like I've got J. Scott Campbell thing I had to pay like $100 and something for, and the Mark Silvestri autograph. So I'm saying to get Mark Waid and Mark Silvestri together and have them signed. So yeah, I'm expecting to pay $75-$100 for it. I get it. So like that's what I'm saying. So we've had this conversation before. I disagree with you so strongly. Please know that.
I'm with you. I'm with him. Look, everybody has a point of view. And the other thing, too, is the numbers have to actually work. I think there's a lot of ways we can add additional revenue without, competing with our books. One of it is like foreign reprints. If you're doing a beautiful book, and you are doing a beautiful book, actually, a Cyberfrog's also a beautiful book. My book is black and white, yet it's still beautiful. Just a different book.
Love black and white comics, though. So it's cool.
Black and white. But I will tell you this much. College of the Dead 3, I'm going to have Javier do it, and it's not going to be 2 panels a page. It is not. Because
you're going to change it up.
I'm changing it up because I want to let him loose, and I'm going to see what he does with the layouts. But I'm dying to see what now after. I mean, I've had people see that cover and been like, "Hey, was that done traditional?" Like, because they want.
Yeah, that's why I thought it looked really like old school pulp comic. That's why I was looking. I was like, "Oh, this nice." It looked like it had been done traditionally.
That's a guy that I'm tying. You have to try things, or you don't get results. So, like, you got to try and see what works, what doesn't work. But I'm not gonna. I want Javier to give me everything he can give me on College of the Dead 3, and I'm going to work with him on the layouts to make sure the storytelling is right and everything like that. But people are going to be blown away by that, and just like they're blown away by that cover. That's the standard, and everything's going to live up to that. For 3, 2 is already drawn. I can't screw around with it. But anyway, but yeah, we could always 2 is drawn, man. I have a lot of the art I've been sharing is promo for 2 that I've been sharing today. So. Yeah, I've been working on this for a long time. I'm so psyched to publish.
Yeah, trust me, I get it. Yeah, trust me, I understand.
It's like, no, I am not holding back. There's a lot of guys I'm reaching out to. I want to get this book shipped and in people's hands, and then start promoting other stuff. It's going to be great, and I love also the relationships with the other creators. But on the format thing, 48 pages, $25, unsigned. Yes, it's high. That is high, and it's pushing the limits. What I would like to see for something like that kind of format would be, can we put in some of the really cool making of content and not have to charge for a separate ash can? So maybe a color book could be 100 pages. It just may not be full sequential art for the entire thing. It can also depend on the sales and stretch goals. But I agree that it's pushing the limits. But I'm with you, Antonio. Like, if we're going to put a signature on it, physically moving around books or physically moving around human beings is no joke.
That's what I'm saying. I got to buy a round trip ticket, fly this guy in, put him up.
For $15?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm like,
I think if you're still on in demand, you got to stop offering. I mean, don't get upset, but I got to take care of Antonio here. We're family now. Now, I may even be on a sexy party one night if things go good. We'll see how it goes if I cut it. But no, but honestly, I think the price should go to at least $25 for a signed copy.
Well, I didn't want to, because I've had some of the backers go, well, I'm thinking about backing you now, but am I going to get the same stuff that everybody that backed before got? And I was like, if you backed, you back. So yeah, you'll get all the stretch goals and all that kind of stuff. I see some campaigns, they'll go, oh, well, that stuff's cut off and it's only available to our new backer. You know, the new backers will get this or whatever. You know, the old backers will get this. And I was like, no, if you backed, you backed. I'm just gonna leave it as is.
You gotta just get it roll. But you're not gonna lose backers, man. There's no way you're losing backers. And
well, I'm just saying I'm just saying Way of the Gun is going to be more expensive because I do think but we're gonna have, there'll be more bells and whistles, there'll be 6 covers, there'll be some, there'll be like an early backer special where you can get the 6 cover pack as like a discounted price and different things. We'll have a different price point there because
got the record for covers so far, brother.
Well, I mean,
Kyle Ritter, baby. Nobody got covers like Kyle Ritter got covers.
Kyle's got insane covers. I thought Mike did, with all the Lone Star covers. And
I liked how Mike was doing those releases of Lone Star too. I complimented him on it when he was doing it. It was back before things happened wacky with Mike.
Yeah,
but hey, you gotta love everybody. You gotta love everybody. There's no, that's just the way it is. He's a great artist. I really like his work.
Well, I mean, I backed Lone Star. The 2, whatever, and with the Monster Hunt, I got all that. I bought Caanan's cover and all that. I was
confused by Theme G. I was like, what is this Theme G? It's a short book, 2 other books. But you know what? I respect the experimentation. And he also shares information. He was tweeting out what his results were. He's like, I'm getting some pretty good results on Facebook ads. He doesn't need to tell people that.
Yeah, well, I think if we're trying to grow the community, the community he was formerly part of, we need to
formerly known as
formerly known as independent thinker. It's like. But he was really good. He was about sharing information. Richard C. Meyer was very good about sharing information. And that's the thing. If I go to Richard now and, if I have a problem, he's willing to point me in the right direction. He's Richard C. Meyer. He's your boy, Zach. He don't have to do that. So,
hey, no, but you know what? We all have to stay checked. If we are not checked and we're not doing things right, we're going to lose things very quickly, and the other thing I don't understand about people that are the formerly belong of or whatever, they're going to have problems. I don't know how long they've been in business for themselves before, but when you're in business for yourself, because I ain't never had a job and I still live in a house. So the way that works is when we have problems, Kyle Ritter went full X-Men #1 with his covers. Yes,
yes, he did. Yes, he did.
They're all so gorgeous. His work was so gorgeous. He colored my cover, College of the Dead, guys. He colored that cover.
Oh, did he? Okay. I didn't know that. Okay. That's cool.
He was looking at it too. He's like, like how you did this. And I also
he's a brilliant colorist. Yeah, he's fantastic.
I have some really great friends. I'm really fortunate, and you're a new friend, and I'm making more friends. But Mark Maz was my graphic designer. He's the guy who designed the Cyberfrog logo for Ethan. And they worked together at Paris. Yeah, well, I knew Mark from back in the day from the old comics company too. Yeah, it's just so cool. It's just so many cool people. Like they know when you're working with a good group of people, everybody can put in their little part and it all works. But anyway, the point I was just trying to make is like, no, we all have to help each other out, and we all have to stay humble no matter what success we have. I have very small success. I'm happy about it. But I know where I came from, and where I came from is people helping me in Comicsgate, that I now have a chance to help other people back too. Like there's this one guy, he's doing a book called Fireshine. It's a small book, but he had reached out to me, or I saw him online or whatever it was on Twitter. And we got talking, and I'm like, look, this is how it goes in Comicsgate. This is how it works. These are the War Campaign guys who helped me out a lot. The War Campaign guys, they got my video done because I went on the show and they're like, you got no video? And I was like, yeah, I didn't get around to it. I just want to make sure I launched. They're like, all right, well, maybe you want to think about that. And then like after I was on War Campaign show, next morning I woke up and Smirk the Alien, whoever that is, but that's his name. But he's a war campaign guy. So
some of those war campaign guys are extraordinarily talented with some of the little funny clips they put together. I was like, wow.
Videos and their memes and
the memes, like they did. I saw that Magnum PI video thing.
I don't think that was war campaign. That was our boy. What is it? He's in the chat right now. I love that guy. He does like the PG memes that nobody gets upset about.
I thought the person that did listen, maybe I don't know. Sometimes you may think somebody's working not.
Mr. Yanafui, who's in our chat, who's got the baby face with the muscle.
Okay, because the first time I saw it,
that Magnum PI thing was genius.
Yeah, that's why I was like I thought it was a war campaign because the first time I saw it was a war campaign person that tweeted it or whatever. I guess so maybe that's why I thought.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Yanafui that was.
I mean, he's probably sharing his work. That's what I'm saying. But the first time I saw it
together with other stuff from other people. But yeah, I got to go back and look at that again.
It was hilarious. I was like, and what was so funny is even Edwin even said. That's pretty funny.
Well, that one is funny. That one's okay. I remember. Yeah. He said that one's okay. That got his approval. And then
it was funny because he was like, he said that's actually pretty funny. So I was like, the boom 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 boom. I was just like the Magnum PI. It was just had me cracking up. I was like,
Doug jumping in a pool, whatever.
Yeah, it was just crazy.
What people are going to learn is we're going to have trials and tribulations, and it's not just about putting comics together. YouTube might cut us or something like that. Indiegogo might go the other direction. Not that we won't be able to bounce back, but you'll see how the team comes together. You'll see how the community comes together when we do have a problem, and it happens. Or some stuff will just slide out of control for some people. Personal problem will get in the way of things. It was really sad when James Hundle passed away, and really sad. And he was helping me a little bit.
It was so funny. I was about to have him on my channel. He had contacted me, and it was so crazy. I was like, it was surreal because I went back. I said, wait a minute. He sent me a message, and I responded to him, and I was like, we were, and then he had appeared on Ethan's channel a few times, and
he was a serial killer. He looked like Ethan joked with him about looking like a serial killer.
It was just. It's surreal. I was like, because he was like, maybe I can come on, and I was like, I'd love to have you on. And next thing you know, he was gone, and I was like, that's surreal that I got that message from him. And I was like, like I said, it kind of got away from both of them. Like I said, he was in full promotion mode. He was doing, but a lot of people once they get on Ethan, they forget about me, so they don't. It's like, I don't need your little channel.
But it's not. It doesn't work. Like, I had no idea. And he worked with me a little bit. He helped me on some story development for my G.I. Jackrabbits, which Kyle recolored the cover. The original cover was very well drawn. It's a parody of G.I. Joe, obviously. But it looks like the G.I. Joe cover, but with animals, like a walrus with a fucking bazooka, excuse the language.
Okay, I've seen it. That's why I was like,
okay. Okay, you've seen it right. But anyway, so we did some story, and I have to talk to Ethan about it because it involves his universe with Cyberfrog. I would love to. We'll see. I have to find the right artist for it first. But anyway, long story is, so that was James. Damn, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. I don't know. I'm very excited talking to you about a lot of stuff. That's what it was. What were you just saying, man?
Well, let's see.
Hey, you don't remember? James. In their 40s. Young Afui, what were we talking about? You're with us.
Let me see. Okay, so let me see. We were talking about James and the agenda book, and we were talking about the memes. And who made the memes, and we were talking about let's see, Lord, I don't know. We've talked about so much. College of the Dead, everybody.
College of the Dead is where it's at. It's everywhere, screwing up your colleges.
Yeah, link is in the description. Back it. Put it out.
You want to back it. You want to be a part of it. But what I think my point was just like, we all got to really stick together. We got to also.
We were talking about helping each other, and that's definitely.
Did you have Scott with Door Kickers on?
Yeah, he's been on twice. I've had him on twice.
Well, I'll be on tomorrow. I was talking about little channels. That was the point I wanted to make. The reason I brought up Scott from Door Kickers is he has an interesting skill set. He has he's like a PR crisis consultant, and he has a detailed background in public relations specifically. So some of us have different backgrounds in doing different things. I think it'd be a good idea for us to share even like more of what our other life is, so that as stuff is coming up, we're like, oh, you know what? If you need something like Peter Samedi is talking about starting this alternate distribution.
Yeah, I heard him say that on the auction thing last night.
So I gotta talk to him tomorrow night on my channel at 9:30, and I actually reached out to him about this before, but I'm gonna tell him again, like, look, I have experience with telemarketers. We know how to hire and manage those guys. I could put 1 or 2 people on contacting stores and trying to pitch them. And I've actually done that with my back issues. It was back in the day when we had Triumphant Comics, going back 25 years. But I know what the stores want and what they're looking for and how to communicate with them, but also how to manage that kind of employee. And it's not easy. But you got
I can imagine.
You know, you have to know you got the right person who's doing the right thing, and you have reasonable expectations. And it's just like the management of the person is a huge opportunity cost. Like you get distracted away from other things. So you have to kind of be comfortable with how you do something like that. Also, just in branding it, I've mentioned it to a couple of people, and they're like, yeah, alternative distribution. Yeah, he's going to print the newsprint for you. He prints people's comics. I'm like, no, that's not what he means at all. So he has to think about maybe branding a different name for distribution, because they aren't the alternate books. It's all independent books that already physically exist. That's his concept, which is not a bad concept.
Okay, so I didn't understand that either. I thought when he mentioned that, I thought he was talking about doing the newsprint thing and, maybe letting you.
Yeah, he's happy to do the newsprint thing. He's happy to do the newsprint thing, and he does do that. But even more reason, he should name the printing thing something other than Alternate 2, because people get too easily confused. And then he has something else that he's talked about doing and can do, which is, let's say you and me want to crowd. Well, we do. If we're going to, Billy Mays.
You just stop talking mid-sentence.
College of the Dead. I've got things to tell you about. You're right. That's what I want to be doing. I'm just too excited, Edgar. I'm too excited to talk about all these things and be part of Comicsgate. Yeah, it is a very cool. Actually,
yeah. Like I said, I thought it was when he was saying that. I heard him say that, and I thought that he was talking about, hey, I'll print your book, and maybe I can maybe help with the distribution. That's what I thought he was talking about.
Yeah, he and I are going to talk more. I'm gonna bother him a lot about that. I'm gonna
bother
him a lot.
But I'm a big admirer of Mr. Samedi.
He's fantastic.
I would like to talk to him sometime.
I'm sure he would. Oh, you know what? He's mentioning that he's just doing it. He's reaching out to people. Just send him a message and just say,
we actually follow each other. That's
yeah. He's easy. He responds to everybody. So just shoot him a message, a direct message saying that, hey, I heard you're doing interviews to promote Alternaween 2, actually. That's what he's doing. He's reaching out to people and trying to get on channels to promote Alternaween. That's the main purpose for us to talk. But we also have to talk about this distribution stuff. But talking about College of the Dead, because I talk about too many things at once. This is the black and white before Kyle Ritter got his cute little hands on it. This is, and he does have cute hands. This is the prototype with a black and white cover of College of the Dead. And it's a little difficult for me to turn the pages. See, this is like the character breakdowns.
Let me put I want to actually, let me see, boom, solo on you. Bam.
Oh, thank you, man. So if Kyle didn't color the cover, this is what it would look like.
That looks nice. Who printed that for you? Who'd you go through?
This is a digital print. This is actually a digital print. This was printed like a one at a time type of thing, and it was
like Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Like through Amazon's CreateSpace platform.
Yeah, because I know Amazon can do that. Man, that looks good. I wouldn't expect. I was like, okay.
I have an offset printer buddy of mine, and he buys a lot of and sells a lot of printing. And we were looking at this book, and he's like, "Yeah, who'd you print this with?" Because he liked the blacks.
Did you Amazon? You actually went through the CreateSpace thing? Because
this is the CreateSpace format.
That looks fantastic. Look at the quality of those pages. So you'll get. I mean, and like I said, because the book's already black and white, so this is how it's going to look.
That's exactly how it's going to look. The blacks are really well handled. It's like if you web print, and usually like newsprint is web print, the transfer of the black inks it's not always 100% solid. So I haven't seen a lot of recent like newsprint samples or every printer offset is usually better quality than web. I mean, it depends how people manage the print. but like web is not pre-cut sheets. Offset is pre-cut sheets. So it's a big roll of paper when you're doing web, and then it's these plates where the ink gets put onto the plate, and then it presses against the paper, like the newsprint paper presses that we've all seen in the TV shows and movies.
Let me ask you this: did you just get that one copy, or did they give you a couple of different samples pages?
I have bought every different version of this. There's a logo version of this that, like, I've had multiple copies over time. I have different color logo versions with my name on it. Yeah, it's
that looks fantastic, dude. Yeah, nice clean. Yeah, nice clean print, nice clean black and white art. Nice cover stock. Oh man, that's fantastic.
Now check this out, man. This is some. All right, so this shouldn't even exist. Why? Because if you look at these two,
brother. Oh my god!
I gotta try and get this right. One of these is much thicker than the other one. The one that's thicker than the other one is book 1 and book 2. So we actually have.
You already got a printed version of book 2.
I already got a printed. It has a couple of errors in it, and we changed some of the lettering. Oh, you see how the panels for page work?
Mm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I was like, how's that gonna work? It's just two panels. But man, that is a nice, clean transfer. That is I'd be very happy to get that in the mail. That looks fantastic. I was like, that really is. Chat's excited, man. That's
I was really curious to see what they would look like, but that's the whole thing. Is like prototypes. They help so much. It helps so much to just see what the heck these things look like. Hold on, now I gotta grab this. I'll be right back. Here it is.
Right. So, I see y'all out there. Y'all, everybody, coming in. Right, hold on. Let me put it back on you. Hold on. Let me put it back on you. Let's show that again.
So this is I've been making prototypes for this for like almost a year for book 1.
Oh wow,
that was like 6 months ago. Yeah, I love comics. I love making comics. I'm like, I have to make good comics, and that will force me to start publishing again. Because I was years out. I spent a lot of time working on a lot of stuff, and I usually back in the day you make a cover or something, you get non-returnable commitments from the distributors, and then you produce it to stay within the budget. And then the main focus is that you do deliver so you can get paid, but you keep it within the budget and you make money. This was like turned back into for the love of the comics, like from when I was like really like pre-20s, like really like for the love of the comics, getting back into it. So I just forced myself to make the damn comics. This is, hey, thanks, Zeb.
Yeah, Zebulon Pike. Yeah, congrats on getting funded. And,
this is what I got to show you what the ash can looks like.
Yes, please do. Let's look at it.
So now this says the making of season 1, because I was first going to do this as.
By the way, who did your logo? I like your logo. Looks really good.
She's amazing. Her name is JJ Jackson, and she was at Marvel with Jim Shooter. If you remember when Spider-Man got married.
Which I loved, and I apparently was the worst thing in the world. Although now I see that they're offering a Spider-Man marrying the Black Cat. Although I don't think
they're doing it, like when they did the new Secret Wars and the new Civil War. It's like it's all ripoffs of the stuff that used to be good. They're not even trying to make it good.
Oh yeah,
ruin it and let them ruin it, because our stuff is the new stuff that's going to be the cool stuff. There's a lot that we can do, and there's a lot of people that want to work in comics again. And I know some guys that are still in comics that they want to do good stuff, and they want to have it come back again. But we need the editorial people, and we need the publisher people. Like we need Peter Simeti needs to get some more support, and he can get it, and he can get some. Tucci was talking about this the other night, talking about like setting up a meeting where Peter Simeti could sit down with Steve Jeppe and his son. And I know Steve Jeppe not really, really well, but I know him and he knows me. And some of that stuff's got to happen. We got to start getting people together and move more things forward. And we need people that care about making the comics, and not just the creators. We need it at the editorial level, and we need it at the publisher level. And that's a skill. Like I have some of those skills, but I know other guys that have other skills. We're going to get the job done.
So let me get a super chat here.
I love Captain F Head.
Yeah, Captain F Head, square go, £2. He says, "Hell, brother, post inspiring, so much energy." Yes, and again, thank you for the little tip.
He makes really good memes too. It's fun, really funny stuff. Well, anyway, it's going to describe it as memes much easier to see. But anyway, funny stuff. This is what the ash can look like. So originally I was going to do like a web season because that's kind of what people did in the web. So I was going to promote it heavily through the web. So it's like, all right, we'll design it as season 1. Maybe there'll be a TV show one day. And my focus is make comics. And if people want to give me a fortune for the TV show, it's fine. Give me a fortune. So anyway, so this is when we were calling it the making of. But yeah, so J.J. Jackson. Oh, that was our story. The J.J. Jackson worked with Jim Shooter. She was then she designed that heart logo version of Spider-Man's logo, that iconic logo for their marriage.
Yes, I have that issue, the annual.
So JJ did that. She designed Valiant's first company logo, most of their book logos. She designed the color aesthetic. If you remember that the Valiant coloring back in the day was its own hot shit. It was traditionally colored. It wasn't digital. But it was hot, and she had like smoke effects that weren't done in the ink. It was just like watercolored in. She had really, really cool things going on with the color design, and she worked with Jim on everything they did with Valiant. She was like his right-hand man there. They called her the tweaker. She would just help make everything excellent. Back with Bob Layton there and all the early guys that were Barry Windsor Smith, all the cool people. Joe Quesada was in their studio, and Joe Quesada knows better, man. He was taught under Shooter. I worked with Shooter a little bit on a Triumphant Comics crossover. We did. He had left Valiant, and he and I were talking. We were trying to do something, and he got funding from a major company, so he went with those guys instead of us. But we did a crossover with our characters and his Defiant Comics characters in the center of our books. Our characters met their characters. It was out of continuity. They were just like shaking hands and stuff, but it was really cool. And he wrote us a nice thank you letter, and then Adam Polina worked for us for 4 issues of Chromium Man, and he stole them away. But that's it's all about the business. But he wrote us a letter telling us that he loved the look of Chromium Man. It was like very complimentary, and I assumed it was for publication. I don't know if it was. I just maybe took a chance there, put it on the backs of all of our books, and then a couple of months later, Adam was like, "Hey, why does Jim Shooter love my work? I'll go work for those guys." So he did, which is all good. And he came up in our studio, which is very cool. I'm sorry. So the ash can. All right. So the interior. This is what the interior of the ash can looks like. Where's the pages?
Let me go back.
Yeah. Sorry. Full screen. So there's text. There's the full script on this page, and then there's the layouts from there. And then so every page people get to see Stefan sent the script in, and then Javier had to lay everything out from his description. There's the actual photo that Javier was working from. And that's the other thing is you save an artist. You never want to put the work off on someone else. When I was a kid, in my early 20s, I would do that. I'd be like, let the other guy do it. I'm fucking paying him. Let him do it. But then I realized you get older, and Stefan's so disciplined. He worked so professionally on everything. Stefan, if he knows what he wants, he's going to give you the photo reference. And, it's not to dump photo reference on an artist and be like, you need to do it this way. It's like, look, I'm saving you the time. This is what I mean when I say elevator shaft. Don't try to find your own elevator shaft. You don't have to. Here it is. So this is I'm really, really glad I made this book. And I'm really, really glad I hired Stefan, and he worked, so well full script. And there was almost nothing that I had to interfere with Stefan on. He had one idea that was a really cool idea, but it would have made you question, what is the zombie world really like? And what is there magic in the zombie world or whatever? And I didn't want magic. I just wanted to have, it was a really cool idea, but I wanted people to accept and again, suspend disbelief and be like, yeah, I'm in a zombie world. So he's going to use the idea. Oh, that was a blank page, but he's going to use, that's just some extra character descriptions, but isn't that cool, man?
Yeah, looks fantastic.
I'll do the art book while we're doing this phase. Oh yeah,
Hold
look at
on.
solid blacks. Look at the printing.
That's what I'm saying. These were all printed by what, the Create Space thing?
Create Space.
Okay.
Create Space.
Yeah,
And
that looks fantastic.
Very affordable. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're
Okay.
printing with anybody, and I tell people this, like, don't be freaking shy. First of all, not every printer. All right. That's it with the samples.
Do they send you a test copy before they do the full run, or no?
You have to either see that, or you have to see, for the guy who has Sexy Party, look at this. I can't sell this. I mean, maybe I have to. This is a cover that was unpublished, believe it or not, for Forbidden Vampire Tales.
That looks great.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Why isn't that framed up? Why isn't that framed and protected?
Now let me show you this hot effing thing. So these are not part of College of the Dead, but I have to publish these. This was published. This is Forbidden Vampire Tales, I think, #1. Ooh, girls, take it easy now. Those girls know what to do. This is by Carlos Moda. He was under contract to Marvel, so he had to work for me under the name Cam Forrest. But freaking gorgeous. This is this was. This is the only one that I think I still have. But back in the day when covers were printed, you print them offset with 4 different colors. This is a production piece.
Nice.
Right. So each color, and it's just gorgeous. So if I was forced to sell that, I'd have to sell it probably with this production piece, or maybe I would pretend I lost it or something, and then just sell the. I don't want to sell any of it. Let me just show you this, and this has a tiny fraction of a bit of nudity, but you won't even see it.
It's art nudity, so it's different.
Yeah, it's art. Oh, see, you're cool like that. Carlos did this for a character Bloodhound that I developed with my friend in Brazil. But how hot is she? Come on, man.
Yeah, it looks fit. That's all I'm saying.
But I just love, how do you not love producing stuff like this? So for me, I like to produce this stuff, and then let's produce more of it. So College of the Dead, but this is how I fell into producing these extra formats for College of the Dead, because I was like, you know what? I'll make the prototype. If the prototype looks good, I'll offer the book. As long as I can stand behind it, it's like, yeah, it's a good book.
Well, I mean, everything you showed just looked great. That was fantastic. So I was like, maybe I need it. You actually seeing physical product and seeing the quality. I was
you test it. You test it. There's them, and there's another digital printer called Lulu that I've worked with. And they did a prototype for me, and I used them for fulfillment on the Kelly Jones book that I did. And that one I'm not 100% even sure where the hardcover is. But they took the spoof comic, which is a normal 6 5/8 by 10 1/4 standard size comic, and blew it up to an 8 1/2 11 with a hardcover. And it came out good. They did a nice job. But if you're printing color, it's a little trickier. So if you try Create Space for color, you have to see what you get and see how you feel about it. Digital color.
Yeah, I'm definitely okay. Because I was like, that black and white stuff looks great.
Digital color, I wouldn't do with. I'm going to test them on this too. Next week, we're going to send files to them and at least one other place. I want to see what everything looks like. I got to see and just make sure, what does the packaging look like? What does the finished book look like? And what do Kyle's colors look like on a cover? But it's a lot easier to even consider doing anything like that when you've worked with the company before and you have a history with them.
All right. Well,
worth looking at, man.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about, Adam. I want to thank you for that.
It's a pleasure. I want to talk more offline anytime about it. If there's anything that I know of or anything I've tried that somebody else hasn't done in the Comicsgate group, man, I am 110% there for those guys.
But all right, so let me get you one more time before we close out here. If we are interested in back in College of the Dead, why should we? What's going on with the project? Let us know about it.
You really have to back College of the Dead, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we all know zombie comics are important. We all know zombie comics are cool. There is no more Walking Dead. So the industry has done very well by having ongoing zombie comics. It's not practical to do a monthly zombie comic, but as you could see, I take the work real seriously. The writer is excellent. He wrote a great zombie book. He did exactly what I need and certainly nothing more. His scripting is great. You can even see how he makes these comics by getting the ash can. And the book is completely done. So you're not going to be waiting extensive amounts of time for it. At a minimum, everybody's going to get their books internationally throughout the world, Australia and every cranny, by October 2019, by the end of October 31st. So we're shipping way before Christmas. We may even be shipping next month in September. I just want to see tests of printed books that I'm comfortable with are going to be up to the level of quality that I want. But we have everything done. The books are fantastic. They're a really good read. You'll feel like you're in a zombie apocalypse. And when The Walking Dead was good, they made the books this way. Unfortunately, like with The Walking Dead, they fell into some of the social justice warrior stuff. With the TV show, it's like it's so unnecessary. It's like you can have male characters do stuff. Our leading character in here is like a female Breaking Bad type of character. She's the professor. She's
is she trans?
She's not trans. She could be if she wants to. But, Stefan might call me tomorrow and be like, listen, man, she's trans. I don't want to have to tell you. No, she has a naturally born daughter as well. But anyway, we have normal male characters. We have powerful female characters.
It's funny that you said naturally born. That's hilarious. And when you have to talk like that.
He did not just appear from some weird other place in Earth. Just a normal girl. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we're gonna do more. I didn't push Stefan on it because I didn't want to challenge him creatively. But with me, as you see from like my '90s work, there's always a little bit of sexy mixed in there. There is some cool stuff like that in College of the Dead 1 and 2. But there are going to be some sexy covers of College of the Dead 2 that Javier is going to do. You can see from that graduation cover, when I let Javier loose on that and I give him some more reference and encouragement, it's going to be some really, really great work.
It's like, I don't know how many covers you're going to have, but I would reach out to that guy that does Zombie Tramp. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
And he does some really cool, sexy zombie girls and stuff like that. So yeah,
they do. I mean, I don't think that there needs to be so much of a limit as much as it just has to be fantastic. They can't be half-assed covers. They can't be half-assed interiors. It's just got to all be fantastic, and it's got to make sense for the property. So we'll probably do 4 covers because I have like 3 more covers plus that graduation one.
Right. Adam, tell them how they can reach you on like the social media there.
Yeah. Well. Hey, I have a YouTube channel and always looking for subs. HalfSpeedTucci.com is me. Also, it's cool.
Well, that actually, you actually own that domain, HalfSpeedTucci?
Yeah, no joke. HalfSpeedTucci.com. You got me, man.
Great. Love it.
Always get a laugh and then people sign up. So you got HalfSpeedTucci.com and also AdamEveryday.com will get you to that same place too. So whichever place you like, but domains will lead you to the path of success. On social media, you get me at Comics We Love on Twitter. That's really my focus. I don't do too much with the other ones. At Comics We Love. And anybody who has any questions or about the campaign or about anything in comics or Comicsgate, you hit me up. I love communicating with people, meeting people online. Always love to have the followers. And on the Indiegogo campaign, you can just search College of the Dead. It's going to finish in a few hours, but I'm also planning on going in demand for a while after that, at least until all the books are 100% ready to print. And you can also get to the Indiegogo by going to collegeofthedead.com. It will redirect.
That is something that I was an early adopter of where, I was just like, I wanted to make sure that, if you type in IkariPress.com, it's going to take you to whatever I'm pushing right now.
That's the way to do it.
So, yeah, and then you could just switch it off, and, we do Way of the Gun, IkariPress.com, boom, and it's going to be right there.
Yeah, because these videos are going a long time, too, so it's almost like, in a way, I don't want to even shut down the in-demand. Want to make, when people find a video a year later, like, they should have a way to, like, somehow connect with you, no?
Yeah, exactly, and but let's see. Ted Lehman in the chat says you sound full speed tonight.
Hey, Thank you, Ted. I want to work with you, Ted. You know that.
Yes.
Ted does beautiful work. He did that one pinup on Flying Fortress with the guy shooting the gun. That's Ted Lehman.
Aha. Okay. So we got some talent. I also see Brian Christgau in the chat, Six Gun Samurai, and he actually sent me some of the Six Gun Samurai comic books. That he sent some to me, sent some to Ethan Van Sciver, and Ethan gave it a big thumbs up. I know when I had Brian on, and Ethan actually popped up in the chat and said so, and he said so on his channel as well that he enjoyed. Cool. If I'm not mistaken, Six Gun Samurai is not Six Gun Samurai. Six Gun Gorilla is still in demand on Indiegogo, or is it live? It might be. Either way, it's fantastic, and I know
it's beautiful looking. I've seen the project; it's very well done.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I've been enjoying.
There's a lot of guys who have YouTube shows, and Ikari, you're one of the bigger ones as far as I'm concerned, Antonio. I mean,
I'm a no one.
No, but it's not true. But like there are smaller ones, like even guys that maybe you get a fraction of people watching. But in Comicsgate, it's not about being on the biggest show. It's really about being on a few shows and then having. There's a lot of influencers in Comicsgate. There really are no leaders of Comicsgate. Ethan is the biggest channel, but he's really an influencer. He doesn't want to be the leader, but he really isn't. He has a lot of influence. He has the most influence. But there's a lot of other guys with less influence, but you can get around. And it also helps if you eventually want to be on Ethan's show. It helps that Ethan sees you around on smaller shows. And
I will say this. Ethan said something to me, and I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but the conversation we were having. But he said there's a lot of people that are always taking, and you need to give back sometimes.
You give back. You could give back. Look. Here's the game. The game, we're talking about the game of the price, but the game of kind of everything is I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. Of all the stuff I know, I'm very good at a couple of things. Those are things that I am very willing to help people with. I'm very willing to offer people with. I'm not out to sell everything to people. And I can help people with those things easily because that is what I'm passionate about. And it's like a nothing for me to do. I can help people with those things. So we all do this together. We all work together. It's very easy to be a giver. As a guy I helped out, Fireshine is the guy I was talking about. He's a very small project, a very small book, a very good, sincere guy. And I think you probably want to have him on the channel. I'll try to hook the two of you up. But point is that's
what I'm saying. People have to contact. That's the thing. I had someone and they were like, "Well, you've never had me on," and I was like, "Have you ever asked to be on my channel?" That's what I'm saying. Never. And he was like, "Well, no, I never asked." And I'm like, "You never asked, so
you got to ask, or you got to ask other people who've been on how it worked." Because I didn't know how it worked until I got in it. But once I got in it, there's some people like, listen, I was on this guy's show and there was like maybe 30 viewers, but I really enjoyed it and I was able to practice being on the show. But then he referred me to a couple of other guys, and before I knew it, I'm in like 10 Twitter chat groups of guys that are throwing hangout links all over the place. Like, hey, Adam, do you want to be on Doodle and Chill? Hey, Adam, do you want to do this? Hey, Adam, do you want to do that? And then I saw my buddy, I was very supportive early on of the Magic Cop brothers. I call them Los Hermanos Magic Cop. Just because they're brothers. But anyway, so then I was really supportive of them early on. And then I saw them on your show. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to be on Antonio's show, but I never reached out. And then here I am getting to celebrate. Yeah, it's right. It's good for the heart. It's an extra big payoff, Brian. Extra big payoff to help other people.
And please, check out Six Gun Gorilla because it's dope, man. That's I really like what he
Six Gun Gorilla. Like, if we're not friends, even if we please hit me up. Comics We Love, and then you and me, let's do a show. My shows are small, but you do a show with me. You do a show with Wanger, who does Super Harem. You do a show with Simon, who does the Blood Hunt book. There's a lot of us out there. We should be seeing. That's a great looking book. We should all be seeing more of you in your book.
Let's see. I had Simon on. I've had Simon on. Let's see. Vic King. I've had so many.
Yeah, you get on War Campaign with a book like Six Gun Gorilla, man. Why ain't you been on War Campaign? And I know you haven't been on War Campaign because I haven't seen your I haven't seen you on there laughing it up with the boys, having a good time. Now, if you guys got a beef or something like that, then you're not going to be on War Campaign.
But I don't think Brian's beefing with it. Just like that's me,
But my point is, like, that's the only reason. Like, Mike Miller's not going on there. Mike Miller also has got his own platform. But anyway,
Mike,
everybody forgets a few months ago, everybody was all in together, and
they were all tight, and everybody probably will be again. We just maybe we all crisis
back cooling period, I guess.
Yeah, just make it all about the comics and just make it all about taking care of people.
And Mike helped me. Mike helped me in the beginning. I actually got on Mike's channel before I got on Ethan. So
that's great.
I don't. It's the same with Doug. Doug does stuff that drives me crazy sometimes, and I've been honest with Doug. I was like, Doug, I didn't like that you did that, and Doug was like, well, you did this, and I didn't like. We're being very, very honest with each other. And
communication.
Yeah, we've been. Yeah.
I've never been on his channel, and I don't like that he did this or he did that, or would have made me feel this way, whatever. It's not, every man's got to be his own man, and none of us are perfect. But if we don't have to, not everyone has to work together on everything. And not everybody got to like each other. That's not the way real life is. So, but if you're all trying to do the same thing, we all could, we have as much success together as we can, but we always try to be generous. And like you were just saying, and Ethan was explaining, that was one of the things his wife was reminding him about, is like, you got to surround yourself with givers, and you can be generous with people, but you can't just have takers all the time.
So Brian Pascal said it should be about our mutual love for booty whipping comics, not infighting and nitpicking over politics. And I definitely agree with that.
We got a lot of zombies' booties whipped in College of the Dead. That is a true thing.
Well, again, very excited for you. Happy to have had this conversation with you. Thank you for being here, and glad that you're funded, and hopefully just based on the quality that you've shown here, because that's one thing. I know a lot of people will watch this in playback.
Cool.
But it's just I think people will just watch this, and like I said, when they get to the part where you're like showing the books and everything, I think that alone, the quality of the printed pages looks fantastic. I think you might have earned a few extra backers. And
fantastic. I'd love for people to get to see the books. I'm really proud of the books. These books were not made to make money. These books were made because I had to get back to comics. These are the first books that I made that I really put everything into just to make sure, like, this is exactly like, the idea is a great idea. People love the title College of the Dead. People see the cover and they're like, hey, is that going to be a TV show or a movie? Or like, they're just attracted to what it is. Even the black and white version of that College of Dead cover they like, but everything just had to be perfect for me. And look, I think it's going to have a lot of success, but for me, it's like, I got to make more comics. I got to work with my people. I got to get with more talent. We got to develop more stuff and help other people along. And they help me. I was mentioning the Fireshine guy now for the third time, but just to complete the thought about that was, one of the most crucial days, like it was today, whatever it was, he was congratulating me. He's like, hey, I'm really happy for your success, whatever. And it just hit me at the right time. I'm like, hey, you know what, man? Thank you. Thank you for saying that to me. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is the guy that I just helped like 2 weeks ago. It's like the turnaround is real quick in this little group of Comicsgate. That's why we got love for everybody.
Well, I have a couple books that I know I was the first to help put them on, and then they did pretty well. Like Stephen Hart, Asami Children of Rusu, his first appearance was on this channel, and then obviously Ethan helped him out, and then obviously Christopher Rue, Iron Skies, and that's I know I found that one.
Yeah.
I was like, I found that. I was like, yeah, and he knows I found it, and I hooked him up. I was like, Chris, let me help you out. Now, then I said, let me help you out. And talked to Caanan, and we did the cover and everything. Everything started rolling. And I sent the cover. I had gotten the cover from, I text Ethan. I got on the phone, and I got Caanan sent me his pencils.
Yeah. For
the cover, and it was and it was so detailed and everything. Beautiful. And I was like, all right, let me text Ethan, and
we got a Caanan cover here. Yeah. So Ethan loved the book. That artist's a fantastic artist.
Yeah. So I texted Ethan, and he saw it. It was about 20 minutes later. He was like, that shit is sick, man. He was like, that's great. And I was like, yeah. I said, this is a guy I've been trying to help out. And then about a week later, he had Chris on, and I was like, there you go. And I thanked Ethan. I was like, thank you, man, because
that's how we all feel. That's how we all feel about it. You see somebody succeed. It doesn't take a penny away from us. And the thing is, for all of us to have success, now I see why Ethan's always been so big about like trying to support and help other people. Yes, it's because he's a good person and he knows where he came from, but it's also because to have a crew like all of us around, like who of us wouldn't stand up for Ethan or help Ethan do something if he needed something? You know, everybody is there for each other, and it's great to have that kind of a group of people around. We got a good thing going, and it's not going.
Let me before we close out, let me get Brian, because I actually want to talk about this. Brian Christow says I shot Ethan an email because I know he loves Six Gun Gorilla, which and I mean he mentioned it on his channel, but I have yet to hear back. Of course, I know Eazy-E is busy as heck, so it's all good. And I will say to you, Brian, it took me about 6 months to get an audience with Ethan Fast Guy. I just didn't give up. So don't give up and keep showing up in the chats. He knows who you are now, and he, like I said, he's told me. I know he's not doing stick because he told me off the air that he liked your book as well. So I know, if he was just doing, so don't give up. But get
on smaller channels. Sorry to interrupt, but get on smaller channels, man. You could do an interview. You want to be on a show with me is fine. But you hit me up, and I'll introduce you to some guys because you just don't know where the Twitter groups are at because they're private groups, and not everybody's in every group. But there are people I can introduce you to tomorrow, and they'll help retweet you every day or whatever you're trying to do to promote. They will help you, and there's no fee to get in. We all just help each other.
And Zebulon Pike, Six Gun Gorilla is still active on Indiegogo if you are interested. Back him. If you haven't backed College of the Dead, please, get out here and support these amazing independent creators. Definitely. That is that is what it is, man. But there are enough people and customers in this community because a lot of my sales have come, just from people they are passionate about the work. And they're just showing and tweeting and doing all that, and I couldn't afford to pay some of these people that have been just sharing it. So
it's not about that. Not about that at all.
Me and Caanan, we love the brand fans, man. They have been extremely supportive and understanding, and we want, like Caanan said this the other night, and he was like, "Yeah, I know I'm slow, but he said every page you get, you're gonna see my heart on the page. He said, I'm not taking any days off, and so
you can see it in the preview. There's so much work in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
he's losing years on his life making this thing. I mean, he's going to be left covered when this book is done.
So, like I said, I love Caanan, even when he drives me nuts, but but hey, brother, we'll have to have you back on. You had a lot of interesting things to say, and I'm thankful for the connection. And this is what this is about, man. And everybody in the chat following up in here, man, and the super chats, and really appreciate you guys. It means a lot. Not to mention the support that you've given for brand. If you are new here and you don't know who I am, you can check brand out. We have the first 21 pages of brand in a preview. The link is in the description there. You can also find it on our Indiegogo page. But Adam, I'm gonna let you get one last word, and then I'm gonna do my sign off, and we'll close it out.
Yeah, so thank you, man. But College of the Dead, it's a passion project for me. I love it. I want you to at least watch the video on collegeofthedead.com or on the Indiegogo. Watch the video. It's a minute, and you'll see a nice presentation of it and a beautiful video on there. Definitely back it. Give it a shot. You will get the books. You will not be waiting for these books. You're going to get them. If you don't get them next month, you're definitely getting them in October. And then you're going to be seeing more and more art on Twitter. And you'll see me on my YouTube channel, too, out there promoting halfspeedtucci.com. Promoting
Half-Speed Tucci. I love it.
This is great. I got that nickname on Ethan's show, and I love it. Ethan's like, I hope you're not offended. I'm like, no, I love it. That's fantastic. And it really is. You get to become a character right away. And I have to talk to Billy about it because I think he doesn't know what to make of it exactly. But we know each other from back in the day. I turned down She, and he turned down my deal for She in the early 90s because I wanted to own half of it to publish it, and he kind of didn't want that. But I also told him girl books don't sell. And I was completely wrong about that.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what I can't be right about everything.
Hey, you win some, you lose some, brother.
I turned down Cry for Dawn too with Joseph Michael Linsner, so I managed to turn that down. I've turned down the best work. But anyway, we still put out some fantastic stuff. Yeah, you can't win them all. I turned out a lot of crap too, but I turned out the great stuff. Anyway, a pleasure being on. Thank you so much for having me, Antonio.
All right. Sorry, guys, we're going to get out of here. My thanks again to Adam Post. Please get out there, support College of the Dead, support a lot of these independent comic creators that we have. This is a wonderful community, and I'm very, very proud to be a member of it. But with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and right here on this YouTube channel. Everywhere is at Ikari Press. And if you type in IkariPress.com, it will take you directly to my Indiegogo campaign for my comic book series brand with the phenomenal Caanan White. We're on Teespring. We're on Amazon.com. The links to those are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. Back College of the Dead.
Oh, yeah, baby.